On the morning of April 19, 1995, the city of Oklahoma City was beginning what seemed like a normal weekday. Parents dropped children off at daycare. Office workers arrived at their desks. The spring air was calm and quiet. At 9:02 a.m., that calm was violently shattered. A massive explosion ripped through the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, instantly changing the lives of thousands, and marking one of the darkest days in American history. This is the story of the Oklahoma City bombing, a crime that shocked a nation and forever altered how the United States viewed domestic terrorism. The blast was so powerful it could be felt miles away. Entire floors of the Murrah building collapsed. Nearby cars were crushed. Windows shattered across downtown Oklahoma City. Within seconds, 168 people were dead, including 19 children who had been in a daycare center inside the building. More than 600 others were injured. Smoke filled the air. Survivors wandered the streets, dazed and bleeding. Emergency sirens echoed as first responders rushed toward the devastation. Firefighters, police officers, doctors, and volunteers worked tirelessly, digging through rubble in desperate searches for survivors. 4 days, rescue teams labored non-stop, hoping to hear voices beneath the debris. The victims came from all walks of life: federal employees, visitors, parents, and children. Many had simply been starting their workday or dropping off loved ones. The loss of so many children was especially devastating. Their empty cribs and toys became painful symbols of innocence stolen. Across the country, Americans mourned together. Flags were lowered. Vigils were held. The nation demanded answers. Just 90 minutes after the bombing, a man named Timothy McVeigh was pulled over by an Oklahoma state trooper, not for terrorism, but for driving without a license plate. At the time, police had no idea they had just stopped the man responsible for the attack. McVeigh was arrested and held in custody. As investigators examined evidence from the bombing site, they began connecting the dots. A truck rental used in the attack was traced back to him. What seemed like a routine traffic stop would soon become one of the most significant arrests in American criminal history. Timothy McVeigh was a former U.S. Army soldier who had served during the Gulf War. In the years following his military service, he became increasingly angry and isolated. McVeigh developed strong anti-government beliefs, fueled by extremist ideologies and conspiracy theories. He believed the federal government was an enemy of personal freedom. Investigators later determined that McVeigh viewed the bombing as retaliation for previous federal actions, particularly the Waco siege in 1993. His anger had turned into something far more dangerous. McVeigh did not act entirely alone. He was assisted by Terry Nichols, a friend who helped acquire materials used to build the bomb. The explosive device was made using common agricultural materials, combined in a way that created devastating force. It was packed into a rented truck and parked directly outside the federal building. The location was chosen deliberately. The goal was maximum destruction. What McVeigh failed or refused to consider was the innocent lives that would be lost. The investigation moved quickly and methodically. Surveillance footage, eyewitness accounts, and physical evidence all pointed toward McVeigh. Just days after the bombing, he was formally charged with murder and terrorism-related crimes. Terry Nichols was also arrested and charged for his role in planning the attack. The case became one of the most closely watched criminal prosecutions in U.S. history. In 1997, Timothy McVeigh was found guilty on all counts, including 168 counts of murder. He was sentenced to death. Terry Nichols received life in prison without the possibility of parole. McVeigh was executed by lethal injection in 2001, 6 years after the bombing. For many families, the verdict brought a sense of justice, but not closure. The Oklahoma City bombing had lasting effects far beyond the city itself. Security around federal buildings across the United States was dramatically increased. Anti-terrorism laws were strengthened. Law enforcement agencies placed greater focus on domestic extremism. In Oklahoma City, the Morale Building was eventually demolished. In its place now stands the Oklahoma City National Memorial, honoring the victims and survivors. Each empty chair represents a life lost. Smaller chairs remember the children. The Oklahoma City bombing remains a sobering reminder that terrorism does not always come from foreign enemies. Sometimes it comes from within. It shows how hatred, misinformation, and extremism can turn into unimaginable violence and how innocent people often pay the price. Remembering this tragedy is not about glorifying the crime, but about honoring the victims and understanding the warning signs that can prevent future acts of violence. April 19, 1995 is a date that will never be forgotten, not because of the man who committed the crime, but because of the lives that were lost, the heroes who rushed into danger, and the resilience of a community that refused to be broken. Thank you for watching, and for taking a moment to remember.